I quit sugar for 1 year, not 30 days. 1 year. I detoxed and flushed out all the toxins. My energy skyrocketed. My brain became sharper and even my IQ leveled up. Well, the truth is, my experience was a little different than this. Hi, I'm Mariceline, a former lawyer turned dietitian specializing in sport nutrition and eating behaviors. Welcome. I quit sugar for 1 year, not 30 days, 1 year. I detoxed and flushed out all the toxins. My energy skyrocketed. My brain became sharper, even my IQ leveled up. Those were the claims I saw on social media. While I was hijacking with the idea of becoming healthier and mentally sharper, I didn't know what actually sugar was, nor was I aware of the consequences of demonizing and blindly restricting a food. As humans, we love shortcuts, headlines that promise to erase all our problems in one shot. But no one talks about the dark side of mental restriction. The truth is, my experience was a little different from what I saw on headlines. I've never been someone who lived on sugary or processed foods all the time, but I never also restricted them. At home, we had pretty healthy relationship with food. We would eat nutritious meals and enjoyed sweet treats during family times. When I started law school, I left home, moved to another city. I was so excited for my new life until I realized I'd made the wrong decision with my major. My whole world, my dreams collapsed. With everything going on around me, I didn't know who I was, and I hold on to the very thing I knew about myself: healthy lifestyle, healthy eating. And I became obsessed with healthy eating. I quit sugar for more than 1 year, and my carbohydrate intake was at its lowest. Because on social media, carbs were boogeyman. During this time, I started craving sugar all the time, even though I hadn't had a sweet tooth before. I became hyper-focused on sugary foods and had a long fear food list. I was never satisfied with what I ate, even though it was clean. I was anxious, irritated, and intolerant with everything and everyone. I isolated myself because socializing meant fear foods. After a while, people stopped inviting me out. When I look back, the most heartbreaking part is I missed my mom's special desserts, and I will never be able to have them again. That was my experience. I'm not saying everyone is in the same situation. You might be struggling with overconsumption of sugar, and cutting it out looks the only way. But in today's world, I don't think it is realistic or sustainable. Sugar is everywhere to trigger us. So instead of running circles, I believe what matters the most is building a healthy relationship with it. And the key points I'm going to talk about today are the ones that helped me so much to build a healthy relationship with sugar. Now let's start with addressing the elephant in the room: sugar. Many people, I was one of them, confused about what actually sugar is. What is healthy, what is unhealthy? Because we always hear sugar is bad for us. But what does it even mean? What does it actually do in our bodies? Sugar is a type of carbohydrate. The most familiar form is table sugar, which is crystallized from plants. And there are also other forms like coconut sugar, honey, agave, and added sugars in processed foods. No matter the type of sugar, in the body it all gets broken down into glucose. And glucose is our brain and muscles' primary and preferred fuel source. For our bodies to function optimally, we need glucose. So if we need glucose, why everyone says sugar is bad for us? For the sake of simplicity, according to molecule complexity, carbohydrates fall into two categories: Complex carbs are often found in naturally in foods like grains, legumes, vegetables, and simple carbs. These are usually used as added sugars, table sugar, syrups, and the ones in processed foods and drinks. These simple carbs are immediately absorbed by the body, starting in the mouth, and used as energy. That causes a rapid blood sugar spike followed by a crash. This spike and crash cycle makes you feel tired, sluggish, and hungrier, and often it triggers more eating. And imagine with overconsumption, your blood sugar pattern looks like a roller coaster all the time. In long term, that can lead to more calorie intake, which can result in weight gain and insulin resistance. Complex carbs, on the other hand, have more complex structure and take a longer to break down. They raise blood sugar slowly and give steady, lasting energy. Here's what I want to highlight is, as you can see, there is no boogeyman, there is no toxins, poisons. It doesn't turn into a devil in your body. I imagine things like that back then. It's really a matter of type, frequency, amount, and context. We will chat about it more at the end. By the way, you might be thinking, what about the effects on brain? Dopamine reward system. I already covered that topic in my previous video. You can check it out. Just like anything, if you take healthy eating to the extremes, it backfires. Orthorexia nervosa is a relatively new, often overlooked disordered eating condition. It displays as extreme anxiety around fear foods, and these fear foods are different for everyone, but mostly the ones that are considered as unhealthy, like sugar, flour, processed foods. I can say from first-hand experience that mental restriction feels like a torture. I think orthorexia nervosa should be taken more seriously by healthcare professionals. I couldn't get proper health because from outside, I was just taking care of my health. But with that mental restriction, I was living in scarcity mindset. And it felt like living in a cage, always anxious, irritated, isolated, but everything for a reason. From this experience, I learned to look health from a holistic approach. Health is not one-dimensional. The WHO defines health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. The reticular activating system is a network in the brainstem that filters information. It directs our attention to what we focus on most. It plays a role in directing our awareness. When we put specific attention on a certain food, our perception becomes tuned to notice them everywhere. You might have heard white car theory. When you pay attention to white car, you start seeing white car everywhere. This is why restrictive diets or cutting out food groups often backfire. Research shows that mental and physical restriction increases food-related thoughts, cravings, and make us hyper-aware of the very foods we're trying to avoid. I remember I could hear the crinkles of a snack wrapper from the other room. My brain was primed to detect food cues. And there's another phenomenon in psychology called pink elephant effect. I'm sure you heard it before. The harder you try not to think about something, the more it dominates your thoughts. When you say, I should quit sugar, you start seeing everywhere chocolate waterfalls. By giving foods this much mental power, we let them control our thoughts and our lives. A more effective approach is to focus on what we can add to our diet. More protein, more vegetables, more nourishing meals. This shifts our attention toward abundance and reduces the space for food obsession, making healthy choices feel natural rather than forced. In nature, everything has an optimal range. Every vitamins and minerals has an optimal range. Too little causes deficiency, and too much causes toxicity. And this is the same for the gut microbiota. On the contrary to common idea about bad bacteria or good bacteria, it's actually about their range. Even water, our source of life, can be dangerous when consumed excessively. How can we expect sugar to be any different? Sugar isn't poison itself. During an endurance exercise, for example, sugar is a gold standard for athletes. The true questions: for whom, when, in which conditions, and how often you eat. By the way, these questions are important for every situation. So, in health, there is no one size fits all solution. Everything is so individual, and everything is not black or white. More often, it is gray. Detox the toxins from your body. Wow, how attractive that is, right? This is an impeccable example of how we turn nutrition into clickbait extremes instead of balanced choices. Because unfortunately, balance doesn't sound sexy. It's not easy or a shortcut. I don't know about you, but I'm not willing to live in a mental cage or sacrifice my social connections with people. I want a healthy freedom with my food. The chronic stress comes from restriction is likely to hurt me more than a piece of birthday cake. And the precious times with loved ones will nourish me more than my safe foods. In my journey, learning about sugar and the main effects to body helped me so much clear up the noise. And knowing it comes down to the amount, frequency, and the context gave me peace. So instead of labeling sugar as bad or poison, I labeled them as soul foods. They're not meant to nourish me physically. If I'm hungry, they are not the option. My body needs nutritious foods to function. And if I'm on the go, again, they are not the options because they don't serve me in that context. They're designed to nourish my soul. Be flexible in this crazy world. Make connections. If I crave a soul food, I'm allowed to sit down and enjoy it mindfully. I hope you found this video helpful. I would love to hear your insights. What do you think about sugar? Have you ever experienced something like orthorexia before? Or anything has changed in your perspective after this video? Let's meet up in the comments. That's it for this video. I hope you give the nourishment you deserve to your mind, body, and soul. See you.